Mr. Chairman, thank you. Also, thanks to the Rabobank for inviting me for this talk and for inviting all these brilliant people in the audience. Let me actually start with the end. So I hope that you critically reflect via the questions that you ask on what I say and also on what I'm not going to say. And let me start with what I was reading when I was just waiting to give this talk. You know, then you have time. And I saw here the poster of the Rabo College Day, so of today's event. And you know, when you have time, you are waiting, you read even the small letters, you know, that you typically don't read, but of course we all know you should read the small letters, in particular if you deal with banks, of course. And it said here, add business awareness to your academic knowledge. Now, this is funny, because I am actually going to tell you now that exactly this business awareness, this business mindset, might reduce giving, might reduce the intrinsic motivation of people to help others, to help the poor. And I'm going to illustrate this with millionaires. Because millionaires, they have a lot of money. And in fact, if you take the Dutch case, 80% of all the money that is donated comes from the 20% biggest givers. So in other words, a small group is responsible for a large majority of all the amount of money that is given to charities. And this is important for all of you, because these people, they give to develop new medicines. They give for education, for research, for culture. And a lot of their money comes from this very small group of rich people. But actually, I know very little about what motivates these people to give. And the biggest reason for that is that it is very hard to actually get access to these rich people. Because, of course, many of them like to stay anonymous. They are not going to shout, hey, here I am rich. Because then what happens? Everybody wants something for them. So therefore, I teamed up with ABN AMRO Mace Pearson Bank and invited a large set of their clients that have at least 1 million euro in their bank account. And in fact, my participants have on average even 4.7 million euro on their bank account. And of course, I did not do this alone. I did it with several colleagues of the Maastricht University, the finance department. And my name is Paul Smeets. Now, millionaires, they were invited to participate in an online experiment. So imagine you sit at home behind your computer and you open my email and you click the link, you get to the online questionnaire, and there is an experiment. So you take another sip of your beer and then you read, here is 100 euro. How much of this 100 euro shall I transfer to your own bank account? And how much of the 100 euro shall I transfer to a person with a low income? Now, and what is important to realize, important is that this is real money. So I'm actually going to transfer it, for sure. What is also important is that you stay anonymous. So there is nobody finding out what you do. What do you do with the 100 euro? Well, this so-called Dictator game experiment has been done all over the world. More than 100 times it has been done in the Netherlands, in Germany, in the United States, Brazil, China. It has been done with students, old people, men, women, even people from indigenous societies. But it has not been done with millionaires. So this is what I have done. I invited these millionaires, and in particular Dutch millionaires. And let me first tell you that typically in this experiment, people give 28%. So, or in my case of the 100 euro, the average participant in the Dictator game gives 28 euro. Now, I was giving this talk at the University of Chicago, And there I asked the audience whether to raise their hand and to tell me whether they expected that the millionaires would give more or the same, or whether the millionaires would actually give less. And what a majority of these academics and fundraisers in Chicago told me is that they expect the millionaires to give less. So they expect while they have more money, they will give less of it away. But the actual result is that the millionaires give more. And they don't give a little bit more, they give 71% of the amount away. Half of the people even give the full 100 euro away. I found this really amazing when I found it out, because actually the giving by the millionaires, those of which many people think that they are very greedy, they give more than in all these 100 studies that have ever been done with the Dictator game. Of course, in many situations, millionaires are not only always asked to give, they also often take more business-like decisions. So therefore, I had another group of millionaires who did not play the Dictator game, where I give them 100 euro, and then I asked them how much to transfer to their account and how much to transfer to the account of a person with a low income. No, I had another group that had kind of the same setup. Again, I gave them 100 euro. And now they had to propose how to divide this 100 euro between themselves and the person with the low income. But the very important difference, with the Dictator game is in this ultimatum game that the low income person has a say. He can or she can accept or reject the amount. So here we have again the Dictator game. So on the left you see the millionaire who gets 100 euro. On the right you see the poor gentleman who has nothing. So this was the Dictator game. Now in the ultimatum game, the poor gentleman can decide to accept or reject. So let's say the millionaire decides to split the money 50-50. Now, in that case, the person with the low income might say, that's good, fine, and I will transfer 50 euro to both of their accounts. However, if the millionaire thinks, maybe I just give, 10 or 20, and I keep 80 for myself, then the person with the low income will say, no, and then both get 0. So this is the game. Now, when do the millionaires give more? When it's about giving or about bargaining? Now, what I typically observe is when you move from the Dictator to the ultimatum game, is that people actually give more in the ultimatum game. Because there is this risk that the other person might actually reject, and then I get nothing, right? So people typically give more. When I was in Cuba on a business trip to do research, I recognized a Dutch millionaire. And this millionaire was buying some souvenirs from a lady. And he really started bargaining down this price lower, and even more low. You couldn't imagine. And then, you believe, 2 minutes later, this exact same millionaire, he donated 2 euro to a beggar. So I hope that you, just like me, now understand that when we do business, it's very different than when it's about giving. So let me show you here. Again, we had the results from the Dictator game experiment. So here you can see that half of the millionaires, they give away the full 100 euro, and about 20% give 50. Now let's see what happens when we go to the ultimatum game. People, the millionaires, our millionaires, they shift from before we had many giving the full 100 euro away to now doing 50-50. So when we change from giving to business, it's a different transaction. Now, hey, I also like to have half of the money. And this has actually implications also for outside of this experiment. You can tap into people's helping mindset, their giving mindset, or you just keep it business. And that's a choice that you can make. Whenever you will do business, you can just treat it purely as business, and you will get business back from people. If you are a baker, you can have your employees just pay for the bread themselves that they bake. When it's their birthday, you never give them a cake for free. No, it's just pure business. Maximizing money. You can do that, no problem. But also, you can decide to tap into somebody's giving mindset. Yvon Chouinard, he is the founder of Patagonia, and he wrote this very nice book, Let My People Go Surfing. And his opinion is that you should actually give people all the kind of freedom. He doesn't check whether they do their work or not. He just believes that they do. When it's nice weather to surf, they just go. And these people will make sure to complete their work later on. Tapping into somebody's giving mindset. That's your own choice. And let me finish with actually my own experience. I have a very low vision. My vision is only 15%. So which means I have problems reading books. I need to print that all large. I have a large screen. And when I started to study at the University of Maastricht, the study advisor told me, you will have a difficult time. You will work with business students. They are selfish and they just go for their own career. They will not help you. But I can tell you, I found the giving mindset, even among these business students. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you all.
You're a cabaretier.
Maybe I have a backup career for.
Back easily. You can entertain an audience. You're sort of jumping up and down. It's wonderful. Making very clear what you want to tell us. A very clear message. What fascinates you about Millionaires? Where did it start?
So what fascinates me is that there is so much money around there, and we know quite a lot also thanks to the colleagues at the VU, René Beckers, for instance. There's a lot of research on giving with Theo Schuit, but about these very rich people, I actually know very, very little. And I wanted to know, so what motivates them to give? And in that research that we did not only do this experiment, we actually had a whole, also about how these people give to charities, which charities they give to, but also how they invest socially responsible, for instance. And what I discovered really was that almost half of the millionaires invest somehow in microfinance, social enterprises. And I think that really was a big surprise to me.
Questions from the audience. About 100 euros, and I jotted down exactly the same question. Asking normal people to give away 100 euros is one thing. If you ask them to give away 100 euros, that's quite something, because they spend, 800 euros a month?
Yeah.
What's the average income of a student? 800, 900, maybe 1,000? So 100 euros is a lot of money. If you're a millionaire, 100 euros. So half gives it away like that, easily.
Exactly. So
it has to do, it's the question, what does 100 euro means to you?
Exactly. So I think it's very easy for a millionaire to give it away.
100 euros.
It's not that you can easily give it away, but yet you see that the intuition of many people, before I actually did the experiment, it's exactly the opposite. So they expect that while even the millionaires have much more, they give less. There was in fact a paper published in 2012 in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, and that was covered very broadly. It was in the Financial Times and the Economist, saying that higher social class actually makes people less social. It makes them completely unethical. What they did, they had students come into a lab, and with these students they looked at high and low class. And actually what I would say is that students is not a very good group if you really want to say something about the rich. And therefore I like to see what happens when we actually have really rich people. And then I reach completely different findings. So now it's that actually the rich people give much more, whereas in their study with students, who I think are not representative for rich people, they find that higher class predicts unethical behavior.
Interesting question from the audience. What implications could you have, this researcher did, for the redesign of the Dutch tax system?
Whoa.
Huh?
Nah,
To foster giving to charities.
Yeah.
Huh?
So the tax system is regarding philanthropy is now a lot under debate. So there is there are some people in the Dutch Parliament who actually want to get rid of tax deductions. What I can say is from my own research that 46% of the millionaires make use of tax deductions. 46%, so that's almost half.
So, and the rest they give away without
Taxes benefits, exactly.
They can have tax benefits.
They
but don't
could have
use it.
tax benefits, but they don't. The way it works is you can get tax benefits in two ways. So either you have to give between 1% and 10% of your gross household income per year.
Mhm.
So that in any case means that the first 1% you always pay out of your own pocket completely. And only above that amount you can get your income tax back, which is for these millionaires probably the 52%. But even then, you still pay half of that money from your own account. So, and I feel that it's just, it would be a very bad signal from the government to tell people, okay, we don't really actually care about your giving and we get rid of these tax benefits.
It helps. It still
I
helps.
think it helps.
Final question. How many millionaires are bankers?
Our bankers?
Yeah, that's what the audience wants to know. You didn't research that, but did you find out?
So we don't know a lot about their identity on purpose, but what I can say, first of all, is that the majority of these millionaires became rich by working very hard. So
How do you know?
I have to trust that they are honest to me, of course.
Yeah, but every millionaire wants to,
but-
of course, work
but
very hard for it.
So the way we
It's
asked
mine.
it was how did you get your wealth? And then they could choose from either they worked in their own business, they worked for salaries, or they got it as an inheritance. And what you see is that the biggest group of people actually had their own company.
Yeah.
So having their own company, that's and I think why that is particularly interesting, I find, is that if you think about Piketty that you actually mentioned in the beginning, his whole idea is that wealth creates more wealth. Well, if we now look at the Dutch case, we actually see that from the rich guys, the most are actually is new money. It's money from their own company, so that goes actually exactly against this Piketty view, at least for the Netherlands.
Okay. Thank you very much for
Thank
sharing
you.
your insights. Can I have a big hand? Paul Smeets. Thank you very much.